Hey everyone, today is Monday, December 14th. The time is 4 p.m. and the temperature right now is 2 degrees Celsius. I'm here at the corner of Jane Street and Weston Road. And the plan for this one is to head south down Weston Road through the Mount Dennis neighborhood. And I think when I get as far as Lambton Avenue, I'll turn east and pass through a few residential streets and make my way up to Eglinton Avenue. So I'm currently walking, I think you could call this southeast, on the east side of Weston Road. And there's a look north at Jane and Weston. And Weston Road continues south all the way to St. Clair Avenue. And then on the other side, it will become Keele Street. And I'm not sure how well the camera is picking this up, but there are snow flurries right now. So that's kind of neat. This area is in the former borough of York and is located to the northwest of downtown Toronto. Until the Eglinton Crosstown LRT line is completed, the only real way to reach here via transit is by bus, which is how I got here. I took the 32A bus from around Yonge and Eglinton, and I took that west to the Weston Road stop. And that entire trip took around 50 minutes, which is quite long considering it's a rather short distance. The construction of the Crosstown LRT has certainly wreaked havoc along Eglinton Avenue for quite a while. I'm not overly familiar with this part of town. It's not really a destination neighborhood, but it does have a unique history, as the neighborhood was once home to Kodak Heights, which was a film manufacturing facility owned by Kodak. That was just to the east of here on Eglinton Avenue, and I think those grounds will be used as a maintenance facility for the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. And like a lot of neighborhoods in Toronto, this neighborhood is certainly very diverse. However, the largest ethnic groups in this area are those from the Caribbean and West Africa. So in that sense, it's a bit of a continuation of the Little Jamaica neighborhood, which runs along Eglinton, just to the east of here. There are a lot of hair shops in the neighborhood, and at one point it was proposed that this would be known as the Hair District in Toronto. And once I get south of Eglinton, at some point there's a rather interesting public art installation we'll be going by. There goes the 89 bus. I think that one goes down to High Park Station. So you could take that to line 2 of the subway. That says plant-based KFC on the sign. I didn't know they were plant-based. And I've only got about 40 minutes of daylight left. I was hoping to have been here a bit earlier than this, but I should have known better than to rely on Eglinton traffic, especially given the construction, but that's okay. Cannabis. That's a chain that's popped up everywhere. And there's some barber shops and beauty salons on the other side. And there's the Mount Dennis Baptist Church. That's the Mount Dennis Neighborhood Center. I don't know what functions exactly that serves. On the surface, it certainly looks like this neighborhood could use some TLC. But really, you're observing it along with me. Not quite for the first time for me, but the last time I can recall passing through here was on my bike. I think that was in the summer. And before that, I can't even recall the last time. So it's entirely possible this is my first time through this neighborhood on foot, and my second in total. There's a lot of barber shops. There's a vegan Caribbean restaurant. Iwadong food. So they have Korean in this neighborhood. There seems to be a lot of churches and religious institutions around here. And this place on the left I have heard about. Apparently they have an excellent poutine, Michi's barbecue and jerk. There's a lot of restaurants in that style along the Little Jamaica stretch of Eglinton. Of course, right now, restaurants can't serve customers indoors or outdoors, so it's a particularly brutal time for them. And I just caught that out of the corner of my eye, but there's one of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT vehicles. That's kind of neat. I think that is the old Kodak Heights grounds right there. That will be a maintenance facility for the Crosstown. There's a nice single-speed bike. I would hope that residents in communities like this will really benefit from the Crosstown, as they'll be better connected with the rest of the city. There's a Jamaican and Canadian restaurant. So this here is the intersection of Eglinton and Jane, or rather Weston. And just to my left here will be Mount Dennis Station, and that will be the western terminus of the Eglinton LRT Crosstown. Let's see if I can cross the street here. There's a 32A Eglinton bus pulling in. There's some rather nice artwork. Welcome to Mount Dennis. So that's a look west down Eglinton. It's a girl diagonally running across the street. And that's a look to the east. And I think this Mount Dennis station will also be the home of a train that connects to Kitchener, a GO train. So even more transit connections coming to this neighborhood. Oh, and there goes the Up Express. That's the train that runs between Pearson and Union Station. So if you want to get to the airport, that's how you'll get there. And there's a look towards Mount Dennis Station. I'm actually going to get another look at it from Eglinton Avenue, as I think I'll be coming up some residential streets that will kick me back out on Eglinton. This neighborhood does go south for at least a few more blocks. That is the Anglican Church of St. Mary and St. Martha. And that seems to be the end of the snow flurries. And here's a very nice library branch. I'm assuming that's the Mount Dennis branch. One thing I'm not seeing in this neighborhood is a whole lot of large chain or corporate stores. So the powers of gentrification have been held at bay, at least for now. And on my way over, I was just looking up this neighborhood, as I don't know a whole lot about it. And I saw just a few years ago, houses in this area were going for less than $600,000, which in the city of Toronto is pretty much unheard of. I don't know if that's still the situation, but there's definitely more affordable real estate in this area, although perhaps the arrival of the Crosstown will start to drive up prices, and we'll see the developers roll in and start to knock down some of these blocks and replace them with their patented generic glass condos. Certainly some interesting retail going on. I think just to the east of here, there's a big No Frills supermarket. So that's probably where most of the residents here get their shopping done. I think traditionally this has been more of a blue-collar kind of neighborhood. Going back to the days when Kodak was here manufacturing, there was more facilities like that. There's a Royal Canadian Legion, branch number 31. I can't imagine they'd be allowed to operate in the current climate. The streets in this neighborhood are certainly quiet. And there's a whole lot of retail that just seems to sparsely dot the streetscape here. I think some of these retail units might even be converted into apartments. You know, you're in a low demand for commercial spaces when you start to see that happen. And we are at Dennis Avenue. So this should be an interesting surprise. Maybe I'll walk past it and I'll turn around. So there's a look down Dennis Avenue, and here we have an art installation. This is called Nyctophillia. Apparently this was installed in 2014 and is the product of a couple of local Toronto artists. It's kind of unique. It reminds me a bit of the artwork that is in around Bathurst and St. Clair. That art looks kind of like an unfinished construction project. And this one kind of reminds me of that, just a place where they're storing a bunch of utility poles for some reason upright. Don't really know how that came to be. There's Dragon House Chinese food. One last look at this rather funky art installation, and maybe I will take this opportunity to cross the street here. Doesn't even look like all these places are even bothering to open up. Retailers not selling essential goods are only allowed to offer curbside pickup. But of course, if you need any household items or goods that aren't essential, you could just pop into a Walmart or a Canadian Tire or a Superstore, where you'll be met with lots of other people rubbing elbows, because for some reason that is allowed, but these small retailers aren't allowed to open up, even with restrictions in place. But hey, what do I know about that? There is a 71 bus that looks to be turning right onto Lambton. I'm not familiar with the route that particular bus takes. And this is Lambton Avenue on the right and Brownville Avenue on the left.
Okay.
I don't know what that guy was talking about. But straight ahead, we can see the CN Tower way, way off in the distance. So now, I think what I'll do is I'll head down Brownville and we'll check out some residential streets in this neighborhood. And this should loop me back up to Eglinton Avenue. There's certainly a interesting vibe in this area. There are rail tracks that sort of run just behind these houses here. Oh, we might have a neat view at the city. Just look towards the CN Tower and the skyline. And I think that's St. Clair off in the distance. Doesn't look like anyone's living in this unit, at least not legally. So I couldn't tell you the property value of these homes, but like I said earlier, I did see real estate listings for $500,000 to $600,000 just a few years ago in this neighborhood. It's kind of cute. I'm not seeing much in the way of Christmas decorations here. It's probably too early for the lights to be flipped on. And unless Google lied to me, at the end of the street will be a staircase, which I can take down to Eglinton, and then I'll probably walk east towards an area known as Keelsdale and hop back on the Eglinton bus. I'm not sure what this flag signifies. All yellow with 3 lines through it. Let's look back at Weston Road. I'm normally pretty good at guessing the ages of homes, but these ones have me a bit stumped. I wouldn't say they're quite 1920s. I certainly wouldn't be surprised to hear the 40s. So just up ahead here should be Mount Dennis Station. So maybe we'll even get a nice view of it from where this street ends. I certainly learned my lesson about not wearing gloves when I record one of these walks. I didn't think it was that bad. It was only 2, but I was not anticipating this wind chill factor. Some really quaint, nice little homes here. There is a look at where Kodak Heights used to be. So there's the future Mount Dennis Station. Like I said, that'll be the western terminus of the Eglinton Crosstown. Once upon a time, they started building a subway line down Eglinton. But that project was canceled back in 1995 when Mike Harris and the progressive conservative government took over. And here we are how many years later? And instead of a subway, we're basically getting an underground streetcar. You'd have to wonder what this neighborhood would be like had the Eglinton West subway project gone through. Or at the very least, had that project have gone through instead of the Shepherd line. So I am now heading east on the south side of Eglinton Avenue West towards Keelsdale. And that should be Black Creek Drive up ahead. Black Creek itself runs through Keelsdale Park. So there's not going to be a whole lot to see for the rest of this walk, although I should be able to get a view of the above ground portion of the LRT line. And there's a Crosstown LRT train. Would you call it a train? I don't know. Car? Whatever you call it. Chilling in the station there. So that's the second time this walk I've been by one of those. I think they've been spotted doing test runs up and down this portion of the tracks. I saw these stairs here and I was about to run up them, but it looks like that is not yet meant to be. I'll take you up to that overpass. And there's the above ground stretch of the LRT line. For most of the western part of the LRT, it will be below ground. And once you get a few stops east of Bayview and Eglinton, it does pop out of the ground. So as it makes its way towards Scarborough, the most eastern section will be above ground. This whole area certainly has kind of a bleak and dreary feel to it. I certainly wouldn't use the word urban to describe this area. There is no frills where probably most of the people around here do their grocery shopping. Man, I think there's a bus coming. Although I don't feel like getting into a foot race trying to get to the stop in time. I easily could have done that too, but oh well. That's the 32D that will be going to Eglinton Station. You do have to pay attention if you're taking the 32, whether it's the A, B, C, or D. Here we go. This is the intersection of Black Creek Drive and Eglinton Avenue. I think this is a good spot to end this video. Psychic reader phone reading special, 20 bucks. I gotta get on that and find out if they know how many subscribers I'll have in a few months from now. I don't know what this building is, but there's a look south down Black Creek Drive, and that is Keelsdale Park just on the other side. And one last look at the above ground section of the Crosstown LRT. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this walk through the Mount Dennis neighborhood. There are links to my Patreon in the description if you wish to support the channel. You can also do that via channel memberships on my YouTube page itself. And if you haven't yet signed up to my Instagram to check out my very sporadic posts, then feel free to do that as well. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you on the next one.